lose some weight, maybe felt great about your progress, and then somehow you found yourself right back to where you started, maybe even heavier than before. Or maybe you can lose the first 5, 10, maybe even 15 pounds, but then you hit a wall. You get frustrated and the cycle starts all over again. If you're nodding your head yes right now, go ahead and drop the word cycle in the comments below, because today I'm actually going to show you why this keeps happening, and more importantly, how to finally break free. So in this video, I'm going to reveal why working harder or finding a better diet actually isn't the answer. I'm going to show you the hidden mindset block that actually is keeping you stuck in this cycle, how your self-image might be actually sabotaging your results, and a very simple shift that can change everything starting today. So if you're ready to break free from this very, very frustrating cycle, I've created something very, very powerful for you. I know I'm saying very a lot. It's called the Freedom Focused Fat Loss Blueprint. And the cool thing is it shows you exactly how to align your habits with your mindset for lasting results. No more losing and regaining the same weight over and over. So if that's you, go ahead and drop the word blueprint below in the comments, or you can click the description box below and I'm going to send that to you right away. So welcome if you're new, welcome back if you are returning. I'm Lance and I help professionals and entrepreneurs achieve permanent fitness transformations without the crash diets, without torturous workout sessions, and without those expensive appetite suppressing injections. I think we all know which ones I'm talking about. So since 2005, I have helped hundreds upon hundreds of food-loving clients build very strong, lean bodies and regain confidence and energy while actually enjoying the process. Hence, the name of my program is called Joyfully Fit 365, because I help you to get fit joyfully and stay there 365 days a year. What a dang concept. So let me share a powerful story about one of my clients that might just sound familiar to you. So she came to me frustrated and defeated. She could lose weight. That wasn't the problem. But she'd eat well, she'd work out consistently, and then she'd see the numbers on the scale drop. But then, just like clockwork, pretty much every single time, something would happen. Something that usually would start everything over. So sometimes it was stress. Sometimes it was actually her success that triggered it as well. She'd be doing so well that she would start to think like she deserved a reward or a break for her hard work. Now, I've been there. I've done this myself. But then, almost like she was running on autopilot, she would find herself elbow deep in ice cream, whether it was because she was rewarding herself or because she had some sort of setback emotionally. And this would end up leading to her going way over in her calories or skipping workouts or both and watching the weight creep back on. Okay. So she thought to her that she had a discipline problem. And in fact, that's why she came to me. She blamed herself for not having enough willpower. I know I have been there. I used to think my willpower, my discipline absolutely sucked. But she figured out that she just needed a better diet or workout plan in her head. That's what she figured. Like, Lance, I just need maybe a better diet, a better meal plan, maybe a better workout plan because I just don't have the discipline and willpower that others do. Now, here's what we actually discovered. She was dead wrong. And thank God for that. Because what we discovered is her actions were actually not aligned with who she wanted to be. Okay? Now, I know that might sound foreign, but this is the truth. They were aligned with who she believed she was. Now, again, this is not some sort of weird esoteric woo-woo video. The reality is that she saw herself as the forever struggling chubby girl, her words. And when stress hit or even when success came, either one, she would do what she believed chubby girls did. Okay? So the best way that I can explain this is kind of like what I learned about 20-something years ago, where I believe it was Gay Hendricks, the psychologist, was talking about the C student, okay? I mean, I've talked about this now for ages, 2 decades now, and the thing is that the C student believes that they're a C student, and therefore they get those results. And what I want you to know is that the C student, they're not born a C student, but they believe that's who they are, okay? They believe that they're a C student, so they study like a C student, and they act like a C student, and guess what? They get C's, which reinforces their belief. This is exactly the same pattern that my client was stuck on with her weight loss. She believed that she was the forever stuck chubby girl. So when she was emotional, she was upset, she would do what she thought or what she perceived that the chubby girl would do. She would reach for food because she told herself this is what she's always done. No, Lance, you just don't get it. This is who I am. This is how I am. And she thought that if I could just show her better habits, she would do well. But lo and behold, she had what was known as a conflicting belief, okay? So the conflicting belief with her was, I no longer want to be chubby. But then the other belief was, I'm forever chubby and I always do what chubby girls do. So when she was successful, she would think, oh, thank God, I'm making progress. You know what, Lance, I've done so well. I really want to reward myself. Now, again, we only had this go on for about a month within my program, because then once I realized, hey, there's a conflicting belief situation going on, we begin to work on that from the inside out instead of how she did for years, which was trying to fix the problem from the outside in. Is this making sense? If so, go ahead and comment below and let me know that either this makes sense or maybe you've been there before. Let me know your own story too. If you feel comfortable, I would love to chat with you, and I will personally help you to figure out where we need to start to overcome this, okay? I've done this for years, and I take an inside-out approach which helps somebody from the root to no longer perceive themselves as something that conflicts with what their inner goals are. So if you believe that you are forever unfit and that you don't have discipline, or that it requires discipline to get in shape, every time you start doing something that conflicts with those beliefs, such as you're doing things and it feels easy, hey, I'm losing weight and this is good, your inner subconscious, basically, or unconscious, if you want to be technical, is going to begin setting in motion that thermostat. And the thermostat is basically the thing that says, oh no, I'm getting too uncomfortable. I don't belong here. These habits are out of alignment with who I am. And if you see yourself as a C student, if I show you how to study like an A student, using that same metaphor, when you start getting A's, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to go, well, yeah, I can get A's with his help, because you don't see yourself as that person, or you're going to get A's for a little bit, and it's going to feel uncomfortable doing those habits, doing those actions, and you're going to end up sabotaging yourself, whether that's because you're celebrating or whether that's because something emotional triggered. One way or another, you are going to sabotage because that inner thermostat, as Gay Hendricks calls it, many other psychologists call that too, begins to trigger, and it brings you back to where you perceive you belong. So a C student goes, well, yeah, I was doing that for a little bit, but you know how it goes. I got busy, and then this, and then I couldn't study, and then this. What they're telling me is, I got busy. I didn't prioritize like an A student because I still see myself as a C student. Next thing I know, my lack of study skills, my lack of study habits because of my belief got in the way. Now I'm studying again like a C student, or not studying, and that led to me getting C's again. Now this reinforces the behavior, okay, or the belief, which reinforces the behavior. Is this making sense, guys? Let me know in the comments below. So the point is that everything changed when we finally started overcoming the self-image loop. So I've got 3 main strategies that I want to share with you today that we went through with her to help her to overcome this, and I've done for myself and many, many other clients as well. So the very first thing is you've got to understand your self-image loop, okay? Your actions will always, always, always align with your deepest, strongest emotional beliefs about yourself, okay? So maybe you've heard this before, but whatever you believe to be true, you are going to act in consistency with that belief. If you believe that you are not qualified to get fit, that you don't deserve to get fit, or maybe in the past you got fit but through these grueling measures, or maybe, like many of my clients I've had before, maybe you got negative attention when you were fit, okay? Meaning that maybe it overshadowed a sibling and that made you feel bad, or maybe you're like me and you hate the spotlight, and people are like, whoa, you look good, and you're embarrassed, and that creates negative response for you. Whatever it might be, and I realize that sounds silly, but I promise you that does happen. Whatever it might be for you, your actions are going to align with your deepest, strongest emotional belief about yourself, okay? So if you see yourself as someone who always struggles with weight, you're going to create that reality in your actions and habits, okay? And what you need to know is that your history is not your destiny. But you have to believe that first, meaning that just because it's happened in the past, no, Lance, I've gotten C's for 10 years. No, Lance, every time that I lose weight, I always regain it. Trust me. You are clinging to that belief, and you're holding it and stamping it and ironing it in so that that belief says, no, my history is my destiny, and what I've done in the past is always going to be my future. Step one is to erase that. Stop speaking it. Okay? Stop speaking it about yourself, all right? Now, step two, the strategy two is we got to break the cycle, all right? So now what we want to do is we want to identify your current weight loss identity and its patterns, okay? Now, we're going to do that so that we can begin to speak what we want to be true. So what you want to do is you want to notice when you're acting from old beliefs like stress eating, self-sabotage, speaking things negatively about yourself, agreeing with others when they say negative things about you. Guys, I can remember certain times where when I would get in, first when I got myself into shape, I would start to feel better about myself. And it was like clockwork. I can remember, in fact, I think it was, again, I was right about 20 or 21 years old. And, I didn't have this all figured out, okay? I was a personal trainer, but I still had major insecurities going on. I felt like I was sometimes too small for a man, meaning that I wanted more muscle, and I didn't feel well built enough. And then other times, whenever I would put on muscle, I was gaining too much body fat because I didn't really understand the caloric intake and the macro balance. And so I remember this one time where I lost, a good amount of body fat, and I felt good. I was lean. My abs were popping. Like they looked good without my shirt. With my shirt, and I remember wearing a long sleeve shirt at the time, and I was pretty, insecure about my chest, shoulders, and arms. I felt like I had noodle arms. Still kind of a struggle today, if I'm being honest. It's still an area where, yes, my arms have grown, but looking straight on, because my biceps are not very wide, very thick, I still get a little uncomfortable. Those old insecurities can still rise up unless I do what I'm talking about here, which is to begin to speak opposite of what my past was, okay? So, but I remember these guys saying, hey man, are you still working out? And I just remember just feeling devastated because I was like, immediately I knew what they meant, which is I look small, I don't have muscle enough, and I'm this, I'm that. And so I began to subconsciously and consciously agree with them by speaking, I'm still the same skinny person. I'm still the same skinny, fat, unathletic geek, who's an academic and is just never going to fit in. And that was my belief. Now, sorry if that's too raw and real for you, but this is who I am. This is what you're going to hear. And so what I had to do was to start creating a new identity in my statements and finding evidence to support them, okay? What does that mean? What that means is to say, no, the reason that I was too skinny before and skinny fat is because I didn't have good nutrition, I didn't have consistent habits, and I wasn't using progressive overload in my workouts like I needed to put on enough muscle. I wasn't fueling my workouts. And then where's the evidence? Well, the evidence is when I was eating enough, and I could see that because I took measurements, not just of the scale, I could see, hey, wait, when I ate more, worked out with progressive overload consistently, I gained muscle so much that people would go, wow, how do I get to where I look like you? So that became the speaking thing that I began telling myself on repeat is that if I feel skinny fat or overweight, it is because my habits and actions are not aligning with my goals. That does not mean that I'm stuck here. It doesn't mean that that's who I am. So I began to stop agreeing with the thoughts, with the words, and with other people. Whether they didn't like me, they liked me, whether they were trying to help. My favorite was all those people that were just like, sorry man, no offense, I'm just being honest. Well, how would you like it if I was honest with you? I don't think you want that. And the reality is that I stopped just saying, oh no, it's okay, oh no, this and that. And I finally just go, I don't need to surround myself by people like this. And maybe that's the thing, and I won't quote the exact phrase, but there was a quote that came around 10, 15 years ago, and it said, before you think that you're depressed and sad and all this stuff, check your surroundings and make sure you're just not around a bunch of a-holes, okay? And you know what that means. Sometimes it's just the case is that you have stinking thinking because you got people pouring into you negatively, and you buy it. And this is what begins that thermostat. And again, I don't have time to get into it, but sometimes it's parents, it's siblings, sometimes it's teachers, and they speak against you. Oh, Well, that's okay. C's are okay for you, but for your sister, we expect A's. But you guys are different. It's okay. And you're like, wow, this really hurts. Thanks, Mom, or thanks, teacher. And that's the thing, is that sometimes this is where it begins. But you can't keep on perpetuating that cycle by agreeing with it, speaking in it, and acting in accordance to what they're saying, okay? So the example here is now to begin saying, I'm a fit person who's learning new habits versus I'm trying to lose weight. No, you're not trying to lose weight. You are a fit person who's learning new habits. And if you stay consistent because you're speaking it and you believe this to be true, I assure you, even if you're doing the wrong things like 20-30% of the time, you're still going to be fitter. You're still going to learn, and practice over time will become more or less perfect, and you will find your way. But it starts with what we speak and confess, just like the Bible says. And it's because, again, the tongue has the power to kill or destroy or to bring life, okay? So be cautious about what you're speaking about yourself and about others. Be cautious about who you allow to speak into your life. Shut them down. If you go, well, no, it's a parent. You don't have to avoid your parent. I'm not telling you that. But what I am saying is limit your time around them until they're healthier or until you've got some sort of better scripting, in which case you can say, hey, Mom, I love you, but what you're saying goes completely against the Bible and goes against what I am working on and what my coach, if I'm your coach, Coach Lance, is teaching me to do. I love you, but I don't agree with that. I'm going to politely ask you to not speak negatively into my life anymore. Otherwise, I'm going to have to not come around as often because this is so important to me. And then you follow up with, can you support me in these goals? I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, just like you're not trying to hurt mine, but I need your support. And if you can't get that support, you're going to limit your time around them, okay? I know I'm getting worked up here, but this is important to me. And I have seen so many clients in my 2 decades of doing fitness coaching come to me crying, truly upset, deeply upset because of the things being spoken into their lives, and they don't know what to do to get out of that cycle. Here's where it starts today, okay? All right, let me know if this is making sense in the comments or if you have anything you want to add to this. I'd love to hear from you. All right, third and final strategy is realigning your actions, okay? What you need to know is that in order to be successful in fitness and business and anything, it starts with a belief, a goal. So my goal, let's say, is to get fit, be fit, stay fit, so I don't return to the old ways. That's the belief we want to align everything to, okay? Once we have this belief, now we have to make sure that my habits, meaning what I speak, how I act, everything align with that, okay? So we've got our habits and our mindset and our goals, and they must all align. If my mindset says, well, you're always going to be overweight, you're never going to be this, and your mom's right and your teacher's right, then it doesn't matter if my actions are aligned with my goal. My mindset puts a block between them. Likewise, if I have a mindset that says this, but my actions are the wrong thing, I still am out of alignment. Alignment means that my actions are in alignment with my goal. I want to get fit, so my actions. So this is what I mean is that a lot of people will say, I want to get fit and lose weight, but if I examine their actions, I look at their calories and go, well, you're eating as if you're trying to put on muscle. Do you know that? Oh, no. Well, you're working out as if you're trying to gain strength and not to lose body fat and gain muscle. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, your frequency of workout says that you're wanting to get injured and burn yourself out, not that you want to stay fit long term. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. So what I'm saying is we have to make sure that our goal is aligned with our mindset, and our mindset is aligned with our actions, and our actions should be aligned with that goal too. So we get a trifecta. And if those are not all three aligned, you are cruising for a short-term makeover or a temporary makeover as opposed to a permanent transformation. Is this making sense? So what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that our actions are aligned. So the very first thing is small aligned actions will always beat massive misaligned efforts. What I mean by that is a lot of people are like, I'm going big, I'm going to do this. I was raised, go big or go home. I was raised, if you don't do it, like great, then don't do it at all. Well, that's a really, really crappy notion. I get that it's meant with good intentions, but it's garbage. And let me prove it to you. A lot of times people, before they even realize that baby steps lead into permanent habits, they just think, well, Lance, you work out 5 days a week. I'm going for 5 days a week. And my question would be like, okay, well, how many days are you working out right now? 0. So you want to go from 0 to 5 just like that. Do you think that that is misaligned, and it's massively misaligned? Yeah, because what you're currently used to is not this. And you're asking yourself, and especially if you try and go like, for example, you try and, do some massive dieting thing and all this, again, you're more aligned with the short-term weight loss, let's say, person, as opposed to the person trying to get fit and stay fit long-term. I don't do that crap. Yes, I work out 5 days a week, but my workouts are all an hour or less, number one. Number two, I eat the foods that I want. I enjoy my life, and nothing that I do is grueling, okay? I don't need discipline and willpower to do what I do, and you don't either. But if you try and do what I do, when I've been doing this for 24 years, and you try and do it when you've done this for 24 minutes, that means you're misaligned. So what would be better is small aligned actions. Okay, I don't work out now. I need to work out. How much should I start? Or where should I start at? Well, go watch my video on good, great, and awesome goals, and you'll see how to start, okay? But the point is with this is you want to start small and make those actions aligned instead of doing this, go big or go home, I'm going to do this and this and this. I can promise you that is misalignment. Don't do it, okay? Now, the second thing is you want to start speaking and acting like the fit person that you're becoming. So this is where some people might say fake it till you make it, and other people will, totally dismiss that. But I'm going to tell you, yes, fake it till you make it. Speak the truth. Literally, guys, when I was trying to fix my old personal training business, I thought I knew certain things, and then there were areas that I just was so scared on how to market, how to sell, how to do all these different things. And so my old mentor, who this guy was just a godsend, he helped me a ton. I learned from him and a few others that I can pretend in my mind to be him so that I don't have misaligned habits. And if I pretend to be him, well, what would he do in this situation? And so what I did was when I was still just a personal trainer, way in over my head, running this big business, I pretended I was him. What would he do in this situation? Because if I'm scared, I'm going to run with my tail tucked between my legs and I'm going to mess up. So until I built that aligned mindset with habits and goals, I just simply aligned my mindset or aligned my habits with who he was. Now, it doesn't mean that I did, like he had a 7-8 figure business. So if I just did everything he did, obviously it'd be the same as you doing everything I did or do without building up and working up to it, okay? So what I am telling you, though, is if you need to pretend to be me or pretend to be another fit person, don't pretend to be somebody who lives some rigid life. The reason I say maybe pretend to be me is because I'm kind of lazy. I do the minimums to get in shape, and I keep in shape, and I'm proud of it. I don't brag about the foods that I avoid, like, oh man, I don't eat cereal. I don't need that. I have cereal all the time. Just had it last night. Probably going to have it later tonight. I don't eat pizza, man. I just eat healthy. I eat clean. Nope, not me. I do the 80-20 rule. My point is, if you need to pretend to be somebody like me who's got good balance and stays in shape, do it. But the point is with this is you've got to start speaking and acting like the fit person that you want to become even before you believe it to be true. And when you do this and you're speaking this is known as an affirmation. And as you affirm to yourself repeatedly with enough authority and emotion, at some point, the mind begins to believe what it is hearing to be true. And when that happens, now you're in it and you are building habits. And those habits now align with your goals. And if you're speaking this, now it aligns with your mindset. Now you've got the trifecta. Everything's in alignment. You're going to win. Okay? The next thing is you want to build evidence for your new identity through consistent small wins, okay? And keep record of more than just the dang scale. What I mean by this is just like I did, I took inventory of my wins. And so what I would notice is, and my dad was great about this for me when I learned to start working out was 8th grade and through high school, he would teach me. I didn't really even check the scale. I was checking photos, measurements, and how much progress I was making on strength. And so for me, what I would do is I would keep record, just like I want you to do, of more than the scale. So I would know that When I went from 2 workouts a week to 3, I noticed an increase in muscle size, an increase in strength, and yet I was sleeping better, and I noticed that I was sleeping amazingly on workout days, so that made me want to be active on other days. Like, this is the evidence for the new identity, and it reinforces, hey, this is not only working, I feel freaking good doing this, okay? So that's the idea. And lastly, you want to focus on progress and consistent baby improvements, not perfection. That's why I said you might pretend to be me, but don't do the exact same dang things that I'm doing. You haven't worked up to that yet. So just because I work out 5 days a week, which really I do 4 and then off 1 and 4, blah, blah, blah. But the point is I average about 5 days a week. If you're doing 0 days a week, don't do 5 days a week. Baby step it. What I teach my clients is, for example, if you're at 0 days a week, your good goal is going to be 2 days a week. Your great goal, which is next up, is 3. And your awesome goal is 4. So this way here, if it's a good week, you might hit 4. If it's a bad week, you hit 2. But you never hit 0 because you're using this strategy and use this. This is what I do to keep yourself aligned with your goals, and yet you're still living life. Meaning that if you're a student in college and you got a crazy week, you simply downgrade what your actions are that week. Or if you're a parent like most of my clients and you've got like 4 kids and they're all in 81 sports and you got to take them to everything 6 times a day, that week you may just need to be okay with getting fewer workouts. But don't just say less, track it. So again, use something that is manageable and measurable, which means my good goal, my minimum, is 2. My great goal, my medium, is 3. And my awesome goal, my maximum, is 4. What this means is that even though you might be tempted to do 5, it's not allowed because you're not there yet. You might be tempted to do 1 or 0, not allowed either. Your minimums are 2 to 4. When you're in my program, your minimums will be 3 to 5. But the point is, baby steps are what builds habits, not big, massive undertakings, okay? All right, moving on. Now that you understand how your mindset might be blocking your progress, you need a clear path forward. And that's exactly what my Freedom Focused Fat Loss Blueprint gives you. It's going to show you how to build sustainable habits that stick. It's going to show you the exact framework for lasting transformation. It's also going to show you the simple daily actions that build momentum. So if you want that, and you do, go ahead and drop Blueprint in the comments, or you can click that link in the description box below. But what I want you to remember, though, is that your past struggles do not define your future success, okay? They do not. So I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, what identity am I acting from? What do I truly believe about myself? You've got to start there and ask yourself, am I speaking things that I don't want to be true? If so, stop that today and replace it with what you want to be true, even if it's not accurate yet. The more you're speaking it, you will make a way to align your actions and habits with what you're speaking, I assure you, okay? If this message resonated with you, by the way, please hit that like button. It helps so much for the algorithm to let YouTube and Facebook know that more people want to hear this content instead of the stuff talking about all the injectables and liposuction and all the get fit quick schemes and all of that stuff, okay? Also, too, if you feel like this has helped you, please hit the share button and share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Share it on your Facebook page or wherever, and drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway. I'd love to hear from you, and it just helps me to know what kind of content to do more of. So don't forget to grab your freedom-focused fat loss blueprint to start aligning your habits and actions for lasting results. Thank you guys so much for joining in. You guys rock, and I will see you guys on